Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Cole. Welcome to today's video where I'm going to share a really powerful time-saving technique that I think every B2B marketing leader needs to know about. How to use AI to conduct mock focus groups, then validate the insights in one-on-one interviews with your target persona. We all know that getting the right insights quickly can make or break a campaign, especially when you're under pressure to deliver results really fast. But unfortunately, traditional focus groups and market research projects can be super slow, very expensive, and just not practical when time and budget are tight. And that's why I'm really excited to walk you through this game changing method using AI to conduct mock focus groups in minutes and at no cost. And whether you're launching a new product, refining your messaging, optimizing your campaigns, or honestly just need quick feedback before you go in and present something to your executive team, this approach can help you stay ahead without sacrificing quality. And I'm sure the very first question that you might be asking is, well, as a marketer, as a responsible marketer, how could you advocate for the possibility of not meeting with your actual customers and not conducting research in the market? I'm not suggesting that. In fact, I believe every B2B marketing leader needs to make sure that they continuously invest in market research and surfacing buyer persona insights and being out in the field with your customers. That should be a core part of what it is that you're doing. But I am also a realist. And I have found myself in a position as a 4-time CMO now at this point, where I've had to surface these insights and validate positioning and messaging in hours, days, and maybe sometimes weeks. There are moments where I've not had the luxury of months to plan out a mock, an actual focus group. And it's really difficult when you think about how busy our customers are. It's also really hard to get on their calendar. And if they're not customers, if they're prospects, it's super expensive to convince them, particularly if they're members of the C-suite, to participate in your focus groups, to travel to a location, and to invest their time. And so between time constraints and budget constraints, what are we going to do? Why wouldn't we leverage the power of AI? And when you think about AI and the nature of how large language models have been trained, they're trained on vast data sets from across the internet. The models themselves tap into millions of conversations and reviews, articles, published studies and research, social media posts, collective sentiment about the target audience overall. And so by simulating a focus group environment, AI can actually surface those trends, opinions, and provide you with the insights that you need to go and validate your positioning and your messaging and bring your campaign to market that much faster. And again, within your budget, right? Before I actually jump into sharing this amazing technique, I do want to make sure I give credit where it's due. A couple of months ago, while scrolling through LinkedIn, I came across this LinkedIn short, and it was this AI expert. His name is Connor, shown here. And he just took a minute to say, hey, I just stumbled across this little trick that I could introduce this notion of using truth serum in an AI focus group. Well, of course, when I heard that, I decided to go and start building prompts to kind of test out this. And I'm just floored by the output. So if you don't know who Connor is and you're not following him, I strongly suggest that you go to LinkedIn and you follow him. He gives insights in terms of how AI technology is evolving. He also regularly provides tips and advice for how to make AI work for you. And he recently launched a training and development course to get you to change the way you think about AI and how you use it. So all of which have been valuable. I strongly suggest you reach out and pay attention to what he's bringing to market. So, okay, of course, I have to share this disclaimer. Look, the reality is AI is super powerful. It can help us make better decisions, but we have to use it wisely. And so just think about AI as your always on strategist that's in your pocket, that's with you at all times in your phone. It supports your decisions. It should not replace your own judgment. And of course, always respect privacy and be careful with the data that you're inputting into AI and what you're working with. Do not violate your company's policies related to which data can actually be brought into an AI model, and just be mindful that you're also abiding by any sort of technology requirements that your company has. Meaning, if they've stated which platforms you should be using, do not violate it. These prompts will work in ChatGPT. It'll work in Anthropic's Claude. I've even tested a little bit in Copilot. Not great, but it works. Same thing with Gemini. So just follow your company's policies and make sure you're using AI in a fair and ethical way. So, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a series of prompts. As I put it into ChatGPT, I won't read the responses to you. I'll just give you a hint, little glimpses of the output that I'm getting from the model. But I will make sure that the prompts are on the screen for you. All you have to do is pause and then take down, the details of the prompts. And my only other piece of advice here is to think about the way you use AI and ChatGPT in particular. You can use prompts, but the smartest way to think about it is having a conversation with, let's say, a very enthusiastic intern. And as you have that conversation, the more explicit the instructions that you give, the examples that you provide, and your ability to talk through what it is that you need to do, you'll get a much better output. So, okay, without any further delay, the very first prompt here, we're going to go ahead and put this in. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and flip to ChatGPT. All right, 1 moment. Okay. So first prompt will be giving the AI the role that you want it to play. And now it's going to come back and let me know that it's ready to help me with this task. I'm going to go ahead and give it the second prompt. And this was just the details of what I'm looking for in terms of the target organizations and the target persona, based on who it is that you're looking to conduct a focus group for. Just go ahead and input your own details. You'll see here that I gave a detailed profile of the target companies, and then I went through with target persona. And I thought, for this particular video, knowing that, it's that time of year for annual operating planning and budgeting, I thought I would conduct a mock focus group of CFOs so that marketers have a little bit more insight in terms of what CFOs need from the CMOs in the budget planning process. And anyways, nonetheless, what you see here on the screen is effectively just that. 2 profiles of companies. And of course, along with that is also the profile of the persona. I'm going to go ahead and enter that in. And so now what it's doing is assembling a group of 6 CFOs that are employed by the companies that are our ideal company profile. Without reading the details to you, you'll see that first it gives me the profile of William Harper. Then we get Rachel Martinez. And again, these are fictitious CFOs. It will give us the age, the demographics, their career experience, and when they think about what it is that they're looking for from their CMOs, collectively what they're hoping for or hoping to receive from their CMOs planning and budgeting process. Now notice I didn't actually start conducting the mock focus group yet. I'm just building the participants for the actual focus group. In a few moments, when it's done, I'll go ahead and actually give it the questions that I would like to pose to this focus group. I used ChatGPT to build a list of questions based around this particular challenge, understanding, what CFOs are looking for their CMOs during the annual operating process. You can do the same. I did not include that prompt here. It's just more that I knew foundationally what I wanted to surface from this focus group, but I didn't want to spend hours trying to shape the questions themselves. So, all right, now I'm going to bring up the next prompt, and these are the questions. Now, again, I use ChatGPT to shape the questions that I wanted to pose the CFO, and I'm going to go ahead and copy that in, pose this question. Now, every once in a while, ChatGPT will go off and running, and sometimes it'll just recap what you've given it to them. I will interrupt it and say, I provided you with the questions needed, to pose to the mock focus group you have assembled. Please go ahead and begin asking each participant these questions. And again, remember the advice, when you're working with, AI, when you're working with ChatGPT, treat it as though you're having a conversation with an enthusiastic intern. And so now what it's doing is going question by question, and it's posing those questions to each one of the 6 focus group participants. And it's basically providing you with their answers in quotation marks. So some of the questions I included here were, what are your biggest concerns you have when reviewing marketing budgets? How do you typically assess a return on investment of marketing initiatives? And we're just going to let this run for a couple of minutes. Factors that influence your decision to increase or decrease the marketing budget. Bill Harper, the decision is driven by performance. If marketing can demonstrate clear and consistent ROI, I'm open to increasing the budget. If not, cuts are likely. John Lee, I look at how well marketing has aligned its goals with the company's strategic objectives. If they're planning on contributing to growth and efficiency, they'll see more funding. For Mike Thompson, it's about results. If marketing can prove its value, especially in terms of driving profitable growth, I'm more inclined to increase their budget. And again, when you conduct your mock focus group, take the time and read through all the answers. What information do you find most helpful when evaluating a marketing budget proposal? Detailed financial projections, past performance data, and a clear explanation of how the proposed budget will drive growth. It is important to note that it will occasionally prompt you to continue the questioning because it's reached a size limit, so to speak. Are there any common misunderstandings or gaps in the communication between CFOs and CMOs during the planning process? How do you see the role of marketing in driving the company's long-term financial goals? Well, marketing is crucial, but it needs to be aligned with financial realities. It's about driving growth in a sustainable way. Actually, if you look across, the running theme is needs to be aligned with our strategic goals and consistent with the financial realities of the company. What emerging trends or market conditions do you believe will impact the company's financial planning in the coming year? What metrics or KPIs are most important to you? You'll see here that the various responses range on everything from revenue growth, pipeline impact, customer acquisition cost, and some are, return on ad spend and market share and efficiency. So it's almost done with the questions. What would make you more confident in marketing department's ability to deliver on its financial commitments? Clear, transparent reporting, more collaboration and a better understanding of financial constraints, consistent delivery on promises, long-term value creation, so on and so forth. So now that I've gotten the initial focus group insight surfaced, what I'd like to go ahead and do is now I'd like AI to then go conduct one-on-ones with each one of these 6 focus group participants. And one of the interesting spins here is that I would like AI to inject them with a safe truth serum so I can surface what they're really thinking about marketers. So I'm going to go ahead and take this prompt, which is now prompt number 4, and I'm going to enter it here. And so now it's going to conduct one-on-one interviews with each one. And after a relaxed dinner drinks, administer the truth serum to uncover their deepest thoughts and fears. Bill Harper's true feelings about CMOs and marketing. Honestly, I sometimes feel like CMOs are too focused on creative aspects and not enough on the financial implications. They talk a big game about brand equity and customer engagement, but it's hard for me to see how that translates into dollar and cents. I often wish they were more grounded in the financial realities of the business. Deepest worries and fears as a CFO. I'm terrified of missing another quarter. We're on thin ice with our investors, and one more slip could mean drastic cost-cutting measures across the board. My biggest fear is having to tell the board that we're not going to meet our financial targets again. I'm also concerned that our reliance on traditional growth methods is holding us back, but I don't know how to pivot without risking what little stability we have. And so you'll see here super valuable insights. And, of course, you will see noticeable differences between the different participants of the focus groups and interview candidates here. So I let this continue to run. I try to surface the actionable nuggets, not just from the focus group and the way that they're answering the questions, but also within these one-on-ones. If I want to drill down on any of these initial insights that come from the one-on-one interviews, rather than go on to the next prompt like I'm going to do in a few minutes, I will actually continue to ask questions. So that's up to you, but rather than slow this down anymore, I'm going to go ahead and take prompt number 5, and I'm going to give AI a new role. And that role now is that I would like them to play the role of an experienced B2B marketing strategist. And they have specialized expertise in developing buyer personas and buyer journey maps to support effective marketing strategies. And so this is the output that you can then go and give to your team as they're developing positioning and messaging and fleshing out their campaigns. So I've given this role, and now we're going to watch it acknowledge that it's stepping into this new role. And it, of course, responded with, please provide me the specifics of the next task. And so I will go ahead and give it the next prompt. And this next prompt is to tell AI to take all of the insights from the focus group and the interviews and build buyer personas for our CFO. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in, and we'll go ahead and produce what I think is the actionable output from this effort. And here we go. So it has selected one of the participants in the mock focus group, and it's building out a buyer persona. If you don't want it to select one of the participants, you can go ahead and have it aggregate all of the information across the 6 participants in the focus groups and the interviews, and then build out what is a consolidated persona. In this particular case, I would have likely told AI which of the interview participants most closely aligns to my ideal buyer persona from the ideal company profile, but I'll just go ahead and let it actually, pick the one that it's started to build this persona out for. The prompt basically includes everything from tell me who they are, assign a realistic name, what's their industry and their company profile, what region are they operating in, what are their demographics, what are their media habits, how do they prefer to communicate, what is their sources of influence, so who do they turn to for advice internally as well as externally, what gets their attention, and if you wanted to sell to this persona, how do you earn a sales visit? What are their biggest priorities and challenges? What's their role in the buying process? What content type and format do they prefer? The language that they use? What are they looking for from their CMOs? Anything that would be cross-industry insights. And then, of course, if I were to have conducted this mock focus group around a particular solution or product, this part of the persona would have included a direct connection between the persona and the product in question. But because I conducted the mock focus group around CFOs and their attitudes about CMOs and marketing as they head into the annual operating planning process, I didn't give it a product. I simply indicated that I wanted to better understand how they work with their CMOs. So there you have it. There's the series of 6 prompts. We gave AI a role. That role is around being a market researcher. We then gave it a task, and that was to assemble a focus group of 6 participants that met our requirements for a company and a persona profile. We then gave it a list of questions to ask that mock focus group. We then asked it to then conduct one-on-one interviews with each one of the mock focus group participants. We gave it a new role, and that role was basically a marketing strategist that has experience in building buyer personas. And then we gave it requirements for what we wanted in the buyer persona output. And there you have it. I strongly recommend that you go ahead and give it a try yourself. If you have a campaign that you're in the process of planning, or you're bringing a new product to market, and you want to go ahead and validate your positioning and your messaging, or even your offer strategy, use the mock focus groups and give it a test. And of course, if you give it a test and try it out, I'd love to hear what you thought of the output. And if you found this video to be helpful and valuable, please like and subscribe for future videos, and make it a point to share it with other marketers. You never know who might be, under time and budget constraints and struggling to validate their messaging.